give me the broad strokes of this project. What's it trying to solve? It's obviously a solution for some kind of problem. So maybe tell me the problem and the solution that Kolnet offers.
And so the idea here is that we're allowing early stage projects to optimize their marketing strategy through this innovation of Web3. And we're doing that through this vehicle called Initial Marketing Offerings. And so the idea here is that IMOs attract key opinion leaders, and in particular, micro key opinion leaders. And there's a reason behind that, to be rewarded in return for their social media marketing. And they're completely incentivized by pre-sale tokens and their utilities. And so that's, in a nutshell, what the IMOs bring and how the stakeholders fit in. And this is all kind of underpinned by this model that we're calling proof of marketing.
What's going on, Cowboy? In this video, we've got a new crypto project called Kolnet, and we've got the co-founders here, Ryan and Atif, and we are going to be picking their brain, dissecting their noggins to see whether or not this project is for you and me. Are they scammers? Are they someone we could trust? In a world full of cryptos out there, we can only get into the best projects, and we need to find out how to do that and which projects are those. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to my next Bitcoin while helping you to your next Bitcoin. I'm not your financial advisor, just a lizard brain cowboy exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency with a whole bunch of other cowboys. If you want to roll with us, hit the subscribe button down below. Give us a like on this video if you're feeling generous, and leave a comment down below if you would. Let me know what you think about these guys. Let me know what you think about the project and if you're getting in or not. Look, if we're searching the wild west of cryptocurrency, especially in this downturn, we only can afford to get into the best projects. The problem is the research is difficult. Like if you're going to these other YouTubers and stuff like that, they don't know what they're talking about. They get the white paper wrong. They can't even talk about the project with like experience and like excitement. But that's what I want. I want to know the brains behind everything. The website sometimes doesn't do it justice, behind the genius and the white paper and the community mods. Look, the best way to do it is to sit down with the developers, sit down with the founders and say, hey, what's this project all about? And today we've got Kolnet and we've got the co-founders, Ryan and Atif, and we need to figure out, hey, shake them up and fry them up and say, hey, what's going on here? What is this project for us? So Ryan, Atif, welcome to the hot seat.
Hey, Aaron, super excited.
Aaron, pleasure being
here. Good
here.
to have you guys, gentlemen. You guys look great. You guys sound better. So this is going to be an exciting interview. Ryan, maybe you could start us off. Before we get into Kolnet, I want to know, hey, what's your background coming into crypto? And then give me the origin story. Then Atif, you're next.
Absolutely. So I've been in technology for the last 20 years, notably running a successful consultancy here in the UK. It's been primarily in telecommunications, healthcare, and the energy industries. And yeah, in terms of disciplines, it's been big data, smart IoT, public key infrastructure. And that's really where it tweaked my interest in crypto around 2017. And so what I've been really successful in doing is identifying solutions for real world problems. And I think that's what we've got here, and driving them to delivery. So if you've had any experience in this industry or delivering anything, it really requires that problem solving attitude and drive. And so that's definitely what we bring.
Got it. So you've got 20 years in tech, big data, a bunch of different industries, and you're primarily looking for or making solutions for problems and driving them, putting them to market, which is it's an important skill. Atif, you're up. Give me a bit of your origin story. How'd you come into crypto and blockchain and stuff?
So I've been involved in the primary startups. I've been in business side of things for just coming to 2 decades now. Been involved in many startups early on. And in terms of crypto, so I got involved in early 2017. It was partially involved from investing, researching project side, followed up by opening a large mining center in partnership with Borealis Data Center in Iceland. And that was really the kickoff. And from that point onwards, it was just like digging deep down into the projects, educating investment, looking into the investments, seeing potential in projects, seeing where the gaps are. And that's kind of through the journey, being there all the way through the bear market, taking the pain of the bear market as it came, sticking around, putting all the hours in through the bear market, researching, and it's led us to this point, right, where we understanding the market, understanding the projects, understanding the community, and realizing the gaps and kind of trying to solve the problem within the crypto space
Gotcha.
with all that knowledge.
So you said you've been in for 2 decades too. Have you guys known each other for 20 years? How long have you guys known each other here?
Yeah,
Ryan, did you want to?
yeah, yeah. So we've known each other since really when we got involved with crypto around 2017. We were retail. I was primarily retail, and as we got more and more involved, starting to do OTC deals and getting under the hood of what really happens behind the scenes. That's where our bond really formed, and last year where we worked together to really bring this about and bring this project to the front.
Got it. Okay, so I got a nice little synopsis of who you guys are, but we're here to talk about Kolnet. Give me the broad strokes of this project. What's it trying to solve? It's obviously a solution for some kind of problem. So maybe tell me the problem and the solution that Kolnet offers.
Absolutely. So look, Kolnet is a one-of-a-kind, innovative launchpad, not in the traditional sense, but it's exclusively for KOLs. We're calling them key opinion leaders. Some people like to call them influencers, but there is a difference, and maybe we can pick on that later on. And so the idea here is that we're allowing early stage projects to optimize their marketing strategy through this innovation of Web3. And we're doing that through this vehicle called Initial Marketing Offerings. And so the idea here is that IMOs attract key opinion leaders, and in particular, micro key opinion leaders, and there's a reason behind that, to be rewarded in return for their social media marketing. And they're completely incentivized by pre-sale tokens and their utilities. And so that's, in a nutshell, what the IMOs bring and how the stakeholders fit in. And this is all kind of underpinned by this model that we're calling proof of marketing. And the idea here is that it provides verification and settlement in a completely automated fashion, and that underpins the mechanism of the IMOs effectively. So, yeah.
Okay, so my background is in marketing, so I feel like we're going to talk about some high-level stuff here. So let's just set some definitions out here. KOL stands for Key Opinion Leaders. You mentioned that this is different from influencers, but we'll get to that. Sure. And that an IMO is an initial marketing offer. And so what I think is happening is that these projects are looking for marketing, and they are trying to find these influencers or KOLs, Key Opinion Leaders, to then, hey, are these guys be trusted or whatever. And I mentioned it before, right? These, at least YouTubers, I know the YouTube, I learned it over the last year. These guys are paid to do a crappy job, to shill a crappy product to people who are willing to invest. So, okay, so that's like everyone who watches this channel knows where I'm coming from, which is why I do the AMAs. But what you're saying is that you are finding these KOLs and pairing them up with projects that are looking for marketing, especially the micro influencers, and you're handling the settlement. Right now, it's like it's on trust. Like, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay you this. You're going to pay me back. But it seems like you're putting it into some kind of smart contract where they put it in there, and then like once the video is published, then they get paid or something like that. Is that about it in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, absolutely. And the idea here is that look, we want to create this as a fair and transparent platform, and blockchain does that, right? Everyone needs marketing. Every company needs marketing, and there's no need to hide about the fact that people might prefer or believe in projects. And so you can imagine a play-to-earn game that comes out, and a whole bunch of people are really excited by that, and they want their followers to hear about it. They want their followers to be engaged by it, and that's the whole concept: is that they can come along, find an IMO that a play-to-earn game is created on Kolnet, and say, "I love this. I want my followers to hear about it. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Invest in this because I believe in this project, and I'm going to tell my community about it." And that brings usership, that brings adoption, and that's what the space really needs. That fairness, that transparency, and that's what Kolnet brings.
Okay, so there's a couple different parties at play here. Walk me through what each party is to expect. So me as okay, first of all, let's define out what the difference is between a key opinion leader and an influencer.
Sure. Yeah, so key opinion leaders are the guys who really understand what they're talking about and not the shillers. And so they're the experts. And in crypto, look, if you've been researching, studying, learning about, interested in, and following projects and how they work, you effectively become an expert. And if you're telling your communities about them and you bring that experience and that knowledge, you are effectively a key opinion leader. If you're just shilling stuff for the sake of it, following people who have knowledge and just regurgitating stuff, then of course it falls into this category which is disliked, really, to be honest. And that's kind of, I'm not going to say all influencers because there is an overlap between the two, but really that's a dislike space, and we're not about that. Kolnet's all about data, and this is what we're really building the platform on, is where is genuine engagement coming from. And so yeah, that's the difference, and that's what we're focusing on.
Do you have a way to
Yeah, the idea also, just to add to that, the idea also is to encourage existing, if you want to call them influencers, to actually work and work towards that quality, right? If there is a measurement, if there is something there that's going to take that into account, it gives them a reason to, they want to, so the whole platform is as we realize that basically there's a whole bunch of these KOLs who are basically currently having to go onto the IDEO platforms and compete against the existing against public to get into these allocations, right? These guys have got value to bring. They're building their brand. They're putting a lot of effort behind their channels, and they shouldn't have to compete against public. They provide project value. They provide project marketing. They build a community for the project, and these guys should then be able to have their own platform. And while they have their own platform, they also I lost my words there, but they're also able to yeah, sorry, I just completely lost my
promote
my thought.
the coin, talk about the coin, and bring
Yeah,
more people
sorry, just coming back to that. So while they do that, and there's a platform that encourages for them to actually improve the way they behave, improve the way they grow their channels, and we do that through calling them key opinion leaders and giving them reason to do that, right? And through our ranking system, we determine how they're behaving, how they're performing, and so if they want to be part of that whole allocation process, be able to come early into these projects, then they have to make sure that they do what they're asked to do, and they do like learn about the projects and build their knowledge to their best ability.
So I've seen a problem, especially in myself, when someone tries to pay me to review a token. I often get it wrong, and I often have to redo the token or redo the video because I just don't fully understand it. Like some of this stuff is like flying over my head. Some of these geniuses out here. So are you saying that if a KOL is on your platform, let's say a token picks me, right, or whatever, they have data to say, okay, in the past he's worked with this project and his video brought 1,000 buyers on an average, buy-in of $500 or whatever it is, right? Can they see that data?
So from a economic price point, no, that's not the idea behind it. It's more about how much engagement they get, and how much involvement they get from their communities or their followers in a particular project. So just answering the first part of the question around understanding what the project is. Now, look, I think really any key opinion leader who wants to talk about a project will either want to learn about it and be responsible in the way that they talk about it to their followers. And it may be, do you know what? I'm taking a chance in this project. I really like it. I've done my initial research. I think it's really interesting. I think my followers should know about it. And if it's that genuine conversation, then of course, that's really what's needed. And we're all in this space nobody has a panacea or a crystal ball to really understand what the future might hold for particular projects. A lot of these projects are startups. They are looking for the space, market space and market share. And so therefore, what the future might hold is unclear, but what is important is that everyone is informed. And I think that's where the key opinion leader's real role is. And it's just like what you're doing here today, talking to us and digging deeper to understand what we're doing, for example.
So am I to understand that as a KOL, like, if do you guys select KOLs, or is it, do I have to apply? Like, how do I become part of the platform?
Sure. So there is an onboarding process. So we will look at what you've posted previously. We will take a whole bunch of measures and platform specifics, and we're not going to give anything away because we don't want the platform to be gamified. But effectively, we look at all of these criteria, and we then select KOLs. They're onboarded, and once they've come through, they can then use the platform. And as Atif mentioned, there's a ranking system, so it just doesn't stop there. The whole idea is if the KOLs are responsible in the marketing that they do, then their ranking goes up. It brings quality to the front, and that's driven by data. And if they're not, and they're using bots or they're getting bad sentiment, that's something again that we look at, and we'll say, you know what, your ranking goes down, and the projects can see that.
Got it. So, what is my benefit then as a KOL? Like, do I get the initial token? Is it that's the payment in?
Absolutely. So the tokens have utilities, and so those KOLs who come in, they believe in those projects. They're almost. I mean, everybody wants to get in at the earliest prices, at the earliest levels. They want to come in at seed, at private, at strategic. And so, if you're in early on a project and you believe in that project, that's the best possible start for anyone. And once it's done at 10x or 20x or 30x, it's more limited in terms of that excitement as well. But of course, we're focused on token utility and not price. But we understand that the conversations that are out there.
Got it. Okay. So, let's talk about the projects then that come to your platform. What's the benefit for them here? What using Kolnet?
Sure.
Just to cover that, I mean, before I answer that, just to give you just a bit of background. I'm sure you're aware of this, right? So currently you have projects when they're doing their raise, they would go to, so they would have their private sale. They'll bring VCs on for a wider network, for partnerships, and for a whole bunch of deal flow, right? They'll do that. They'll have some allocation towards the marketing, which may mean larger KOLs. Bring those guys in, and then they'll put something through the public IDO platforms. What happens, and obviously, I mean, there's all sorts of there's different KOLs, different results people get from those KOLs. But what is missing is in between. There's almost like this 80% of like KOLs who are smaller. They've got reach. They're much more targeted as well. They may specialize in certain areas. They might be good at DeFi. They might have a gaming following. Those guys are not getting monetized. They're not able to come and invest early into these projects. And those are the guys that basically bring this project exposure, as well as build that community around the project. And there's no way of doing that. So one of the things we found was that there is VCs and marketing agencies out there who have tried to kind of do it. Some are still trying to do it, but because of the sheer number of KOLs that you'd have to deal with, it's not been practical for them to do that. They all realize the value. They all realize they all. I mean, one of the things that data is clearly showing is micro KOLs have 4 times more engagement than macro KOLs. So everyone realizes the value in it. Everyone realizes there's plenty of KOLs out there, but it's just how do you monetize them? How do you bring them into the play, right? Uh, so that's where we really come in. And while we come into it, what's important for us is it can easily be seen, or our IMO is going to compete with ideas. We're not competing with ideas. We're not saying to a project, look, you only need the micro KOLs. A project needs as much exposure. Go to your large KOLs. Come use the micro KOLs and go to the get public involved as well. But there is, within your marketing budget and between your marketing allocation and budget, between your public IDO, there is this room, and that room you should maximize as much exposure and building that community behind the project, right? And that's what we allow a project to do.
Oh, okay. So I see now. So you're saying a project, it's obvious to the project for all these macro KOLs, like these bigger dudes with bigger followings. Everyone knows them, but they're very expensive. But you want to not only target specific micro ones, but there's so many of them. But all of them are important as a collective unit. And so
Exactly.
what you're saying is that you're giving access, immediate access. You don't have to research. You don't have to know all these guys. You don't have to network as a project, right? You just have to go to your platform, which would have an array of micro KOLs for them, and then at different various prices, I would assume, and different rankings, like you said, and even different niches or specialties. If you're like a gaming project, here are all the gaming micro KOLs, and so the engagement of, let's say, 1,000 KOLs, micro KOLs, is four times greater, or is much larger, and probably cheaper than like one major, like influencer or KOL. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
effectively, yeah. That's exactly what we're saying, and also within that, so we allow basically through the IMO model, which is our initial thing. Through the IMO model, we allow these guys, these micro KLs who are currently not being able to get into these projects, early, and be able to take part in those projects.
Gotcha. So there are different platforms, right? TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. Are you hitting up all of those, or is there a specialty, or what, and what's considered even micro here? Because I'm 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm not the tiny. I'm tiny. I'm in the big C of things. I'm tiny, but I'm not the tiniest. So like, what's the platforms, and what's the ranking, or the what do you consider micro?
Yes.
So sorry, Ryan, you go ahead. This
Yeah.
one.
So it depends on the platform. It's platform specific. So with TikTok, with a higher uh, uh, um, turn rate on click through on videos, and your range is much higher. On YouTube, it depends. So it could be anywhere between 5 to 25,000. On Twitter, it's much lower. It's anywhere between 2.5 and 15,000. TikTok, again, around the 30,000. It could even go up to 100,000. It really depends on how they built their channel. But what's important, and what underpins, what underlies your question, is really the engagement. And so it's that ratio, really. And that's where so I'll give you a good example of that. In Japan, the engagement rates are above 50%. And so KOLs, irrespective of their followership, they are so loyal to their followers, and their followers loyal to their KOLs. Their engagement rates are so much higher. So there are specifics geographically, culturally, but of course it varies from platform to platform. Yeah.
We got another giveaway. Before we continue with the AMA here, Crypto's in that Discord group has graciously worked with Kolnet to bring us an allocation of $1,000 total, split up between 5 winners. That means it's $200 of allocation each. And you already know, if you get into these types of projects, especially the Launchpads, they tend to shoot off really quickly at the very bottom initial offering price. And so if you want a piece of this, just click on the link down below with the sweep widget. Every one of those tasks gets you another entry to win that allocation spot. It's so good to get into these spots, because they just have so much potential to go so much upside. Anyway, thanks so much, Crypto's in and Kolnet, and let's keep this interview going. Yeah, so I'll challenge that one. Okay, and here's why. I've often seen that I could manipulate engagement with giveaways and all kinds of stuff like that, and then a lot of people and other people can manipulate with bots, giveaways, whatever. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, people on those platforms don't even want to engage. They might like or whatever, but we really projects only want investors. That's the bottom line thing that projects I've seen want. They would just want investors. And it might not be an immediate, right? I know marketing, so like it takes multiple touch points to get someone to take that last action that you want them to do. So engagement is important, but only to the point of investing. Um, how is a project? What kind of security can you give a project in using Colnet? Like, say, knowing that that's what they want. At least in my opinion, that's what they want. What kind of securities can you give projects that come to your platform and try to use it?
So we the idea behind Colnet is that we're not guaranteeing any price exposure. the idea behind this is marketing exposure. And if followers choose to invest, that's something that we can't measure. You're right. There is a problem around bots. There is. We're not entirely solving how word of mouth marketing or social marketing um, uh, converts followers into investors. We're just using the existing data set to try and improve that as best as possible. So one of the things is looking at sentiment. I kind of alluded to it earlier. And so we will be looking at if a KOL puts a post out there, what is that engagement rate per post? And out of that engagement rate per post, what is the sentiment? Is it that 60% of that sentiment is positive and 40 isn't? And so that gives you, from a data perspective, an indication of actually how well that followership or that community is engaged with what that KOL is discussing about that project. And around bots,
Totally.
I mean, we're not here to entirely solve that. That problem exists whether Kolnet is here or not. But we can definitely algorithmize, if you want to put it that way, if that's even a word, that whole thing. Because as a human being, you look at a post, you can tell straight away it's got 0 followers and there's a whole bunch of likes in there. It might be a community and sitting in a boiler room and God knows where, bumping up the numbers. And so you can tell straight away. And what we can do is we can tell as well, because effectively we look at the followers of the followers of the followers. We crunch that data and say, this doesn't look, there's 0 followers, 0 engagement of these different layers, and therefore they don't really map to what is considered to be real engagement. So we can refine what is true engagement to a point, but we're not solving the entire problem. We're just marginalizing it, if you want to call it that.
Got it. So what you're doing is you're focusing on more community building and brand awareness, brand identity, and verification, because that in itself is a huge problem. Where like I could I could go to Fiverr and pay for subscribers and likes and comments and views and run the whole thing up. I actually did a video exposing different YouTubers. I was like, that's clearly fake. That's clearly a bot, and here's how you know that. But what you're doing is you're sourcing all of the true micro influencers who aren't botted, who aren't that, and you're sourcing them all, and you're making that easily accessible for these different platforms, for the community, which is, in my opinion, the biggest and most important thing is to have a sold out community, especially in crypto. I mean, I to me, this is a personal opinion, but I laugh when people do technical analysis on micro cap coins. It's like the most ludicrous thing to me. You guys might have a different opinion, and someone watching this might have a different, but it's the most ludicrous thing to me because it's really just the community that just like gets inflamed with fire about the project or whatever. But that's where that community, you need authentic community, you need authentic people, like real people, to be invested in these projects. So I totally understand. I totally understand what you're doing there, especially the community building part of it. Now, what is the benefit? Is there anything else that we haven't talked about? Like, I'm trying to see every angle of Kolnet. Is there anything else on the table that we just haven't talked about that's like sitting in your belly?
So, I mean, the token utility is a really big piece. And so what we're doing here is the KOL token, we want to incentivize everyone. So although this is like a two-sided marketplace between crypto startups and projects and key opinion leaders, we want a reason for everyone to be incentivized to hold a KOL token. And so we're giving back. And the way that we do that is all of the IMOs that go through the platform, a portion of that is withdrawn and held within a reward pool, irrespective of whether it's vested or not. And effectively, anyone staking KOL will get access to that reward pool in whatever ratio that they've decided to join. So there'll be windows. You can come in and actually get access to all of the pre-sale tokens. It will be a percentage, but all you need to do is stake the KOL token. And so that's for everyone. Anyone can do that. Micro KOLs, look, we're going to have incredible projects coming through KOLnet. They're going to be super exciting. And as a KOL, if that you want to get it, it's first come, first serve. You want to get in, hold our token, and that will give you first access to look at those projects and decide whether they're there for you to market.
Awesome.
And
I almost forgot this was a Launchpad. So this is a
yeah.
good thing you reminded me there.
I mean, we're looking further afield into post-launch marketing as well, but maybe a conversation for another time. And look, we're also keeping it interesting for the projects as well, because what we're saying here to the projects is we've got all of this data. We want to make it available to you. Again, hold our token, and the last 3 DeFi projects that came through, they did exceedingly well in South Korea, in Japan, South America. Therefore, I mean, that's something that they want to know. And when they're creating their IMO, they can choose to have 10 or 15% of their KOLs come from those geographic locations, or curated KOLs like gaming KOLs. So yeah, I mean, you can even select by ranking as well and say you only want 4-star and above KOLs. So that's what we can offer.
Good deal. Yeah, I mean the ranking systems will really help, because I found a lot of projects will be like, oh yeah, that I often ask like, hey, who are the good YouTubers out there? And they're like, oh, that one's good, that one's not good. And so I'm like, I keep my own like secret tab of rankings on these guys and just always
It's pretty
watching.
subjective.
Yeah, it's for sure, and they just don't know or whatever, especially people who are just launching these startups. So which is just interesting. So let me ask you something here. With this Launchpad, how are you getting these projects? Where are these projects coming from? Because I'm part of a number of Launchpads, and some of them, they're bringing crappy projects to market here. So, and I'm like, I'm not going to invest in another. You know what I mean? Like, so where are you going to get these new projects from? How are you going to network and connect with these guys?
Yes, dude. So just to kind of cover that from the before I answer that question, there was a question that you asked earlier, and it kind of got a little bit skipped, right? Within the platforms, so we already have our MVP built, which is already integrated with Twitter. It already does the token swaps, settlement on proof of marketing,
I'm sorry, what is an MVP?
a minimum viable product.
Oh, minimum viable. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we've all that's already been developed late last year. It already does the proof of marketing. It's already integrated with Twitter. Moving on, we basically plan to launch our version 1 late Q2, and in that we plan to have Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube as well integrated. The idea is we can go to as many social media platforms as available, but we want to make sure we get the main ones covered initially, make sure it's functioning properly, the project's able to come and maximize returns through or get these KOLs and KOLs. You get the right amount of KOLs that are in the most used platforms, especially in crypto, right? Get them involved and get the usership on there from KOL side, from project side as well. And then going on to projects. So one of the things we have been doing, and for us, one of the great partnerships is the VCs. Is the VCs that are incubating projects, that are bringing new projects to the market, right? And that's one of our channels that we basically through which we plan to bring these new projects on. As well as that, we have we are not. I know it's saying, like I mentioned earlier, right? IDOs, current launch pads, are perfect partners, and that's one of the routes we're going with. We are partnering up. Recently, we've announced some partnerships. We're speaking to a bunch of others. We're partnering up with the existing launch pads. And the idea behind that is allowing a project, the good launch pads that have these decent projects coming through, allowing a project to come in and say, look, I can go and do my IMO, I can go and do my IDO. If I go through Kolnet, I already know I qualify for this IDO platform, or going through a certain IDO platform, I already qualify for Kolnet, because we'll make sure the due diligence is there, and that partnership will bring us that deal flow through those projects as well. And one of the things we've found, speaking to the launchpads, they're really keen on being able to help the projects that they do the IDO for, to be able to provide them that marketing. So it gives them additional value, right? So it's, yeah, that's some of the key areas.
Good deal. So I heard you say different launch pads that offer like IDOs, and so you're going to partner with them, and also the venture capitalists or your different partners, that they're syncing their a big money into these projects, and so they're going to want to be able to use you. And I saw on your white paper that you had a number of partnerships already lined up. Pluto Digital, AU21 Capital, just a whole bunch of capital, a lot of words with the word capital next to it. So a lot of capital, venture capitalists and stuff like that. So I see that the partnerships are already there, which is very interesting. Awesome, guys. Is there anything left on the table that we haven't talked about with Kolnet?
I think the only thing left to mention is the future of Kolnet. And I think this is really where if somebody envisages the real world application of Kolnet outside of crypto and the possibilities that might exist. And you can see this in whatever industry that may require marketing, where social media users, KOLs, are going to be on the rise, and they're talking about everything. It could be, I don't know, toys for pets, for example, or for kids. So the whole idea is all of those micro influencers who are coming in and driving true engagement can get in, and it democratizes and socializes that level of social media marketing effectively. So it's got real world application as well. And we're just taking a sidestep as well in terms of post-launch marketing. That there are avenues that Kolnet are looking at in that region as well. So,
got it. Yeah, there's just such a vast amount of these small, true, high engagement micro KOLs that these projects don't have the time or the manpower to connect to, and that's what Kolnet seeks to do: connect those two parties together, because it's just verified and trustworthy, and you're developing great community. Guys, thanks so much for watching so far into this video. If you like what you're hearing with Kolnet, check out the links down below, check out their website, read their white paper over. Ryan, Atif, thanks so much for being in the hot seat. I grilled you guys today, and I mean, it was really good, dense information for us to make our own decisions. Guys, get into good projects. Lizard Brains, Gorilla Arms, Diamond Hands, we are all riding into the next crypto venture here. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.